Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright Dual Destinies, where Apollo and Athena now head into the first day of trial to defend Damien Tenma, accused of the murder of Rex QB. We've got ourselves some information about the case, or more to the point, an identity of a certain wrestler, but we're wondering how we can wrangle this. We kind of need more info, we're kind of a bit clueless, so let's hope our usual detective sets the scene kind of thing can give us a little bit more ammo with which to fight back with. Of course, we're about to meet ourselves a new prosecutor as well. And it seems pensiveness is just around the place. You okay, Athena? You really antsy ever since we got here. I'm just excited. This is my first real court case after all. Yeah, a real bull of excitement she is. I know just what she needs. Athena! Ha! Didn't you ever learn about indoor and outdoor voices? I'm just trying to show you the best way to relieve your pre-trial jitters. By scaring the daylights out of me? No, I find that shouting, "I'm fine!" in a loud voice really relieves stress. It's part of my Cords of Steel voice workout, and a must before every trial. You want me to shout? Here! That's right, here, I'll go first. Then you try. I'm Apollo Justice, and I'm fine! Alright, I'm Athena Cykes! And I'm fine! I think that actually worked. I thought it might help. Always works for me. An old friend of mine from junior high and I say it all the time. I see. A proven remedy to calm the soul. I like it. Hey, how about we finish off with a race around the courthouse? The point is to relieve stress, not get totally exhausted. Hey, what's with all the racket, you two? Ah, Mr. Wright. Haha, just a little voice workout. Hey, what's with the suit? Oh, this? I was thinking about getting my attorney's badge back, that's all. That's all? That's huge news! But why now? I have a feeling I'll be needed in the courtroom again sometime soon. But we can talk about that another time. No fair. Inquiring minds want to know. But wow. I'm so used to him in his usual laid-back clothes. That suit makes him look like $1 million. By the way, have you heard about the prosecutor assigned to this case? Yeah, he's serving time. But before that, he was a prosecutor. He also uses psychology. That's right. I've heard the rumors about how he was back before his conviction. Using the power of suggestion, he can make even the most stalwart defendants confess. Psychology in the courtroom. Been hearing a lot about that lately. So he must be a pretty scary guy, considering he's a prison inmate and all. So they say. They also say he'll cut you down if you talk too much. I knew it was going to be bad news. It's probably just hyperbole. At least I hope for your sake. Wait, so is it true or not? Let's just say you should be concise and choose your words carefully. If you'd like to keep that head of yours attached to the rest of your body, that is. Yikes! Better turn down my Cords of Steel too. So are you all ready? It might be a good idea to check the court record again before stepping into the ring. Right, Mr. Wright, but I'm fine. I'll be watching from the gallery. Good luck. Thanks. Okay, let's do this. The odds of pulling this off are ridiculously low, but that's nothing new. Believe in our client. Seek the truth. That's all we can do. Hang in there, Mayor Tenma. Here comes justice. How have they not traded justice catchphrases yet? Him and Mr. Fulbright? Well, here we go. To the arena of battle. And to meet this prosecutor. Court is now in session. All rise for me, the judge. Court is now in session for the trial of Damien Tenma. Apollo Justice, defense team leader, is ready, Your Honor. I'd know that big booming voice anywhere. As chipper as ever, eh, Mr. Justice? But who's the young lady next to you? I'm Athena Cykes, Mr. Justice's junior partner and fresh out of law school. Well now, full of beans too, eh? Excellent. Makes an old man feel young again. Now for the prosecution. Which isn't here. It appears the prosecution is not ready yet. I like this theme, by the way. Never fear, for I shall explain. It's just a minor procedural complication, Your Honor. The prosecutor for this case is being escorted from prison as we speak. Prison? Ah, yes, of course. I was forgot that he is currently serving time.
Yup, Prosecutor Blackquill's an inmate. But even a convicted murderer still got a job to do and duties to perform.
Even a convicted murderer still has a job to do with duties to perform? What the hell? So I wonder what your voice is going to be, lover. I'd like to hear an objection before I actually start with anything, to be completely fair. But man, that's some hair on you. Who's that with his back to us over there? That's him. I'm sure of it. Prosecutor Blackquill. And that katana again. Is the prosecution ready? A feather? I guess quill, yes. Enough jabbering. Get on with it already. Ah! Of course! Forgive me! Why are all the people related to this case so scary? Very well, Prosecutor Blackquill. Your opening statement, if you please. Ah! What's the matter? Must we continue to fritter away time like this? It is all right there in the indictment. An opening statement would be pointless. Pointless? Oh, well... Looks like the cat, or in this case, the prosecutor has the judge's tongue. But, we need an opening statement as an overview of the case at hand. Well then, your boldness. What? If it's so very important, why don't you do the honors? Just because you got more hair doesn't make you better. Who? Me? There's a term for people who whine and fuss about how they need silly useless things. And then decide they no longer want them once it's theirs. A selfish old fool. Huh? Wait, was that the prosecution's opening statement? Old dotards such as you are a plague upon the young. I pity your poor grandchildren. Or is it great-grandchildren? Going for the age jokes too? All these years, I thought the opening statement was the prosecutor's job. But I suppose I could give it a try. What? What? Might be a nice change of pace. What? He actually fell for that? That must have been the power of suggestion Mr. Wright was talking about. The opening statement, huh? Let's see here. The victim was one Rex Hubie, alderman of Ninetales Vale. And the defendant, Damien Tenma, mayor of Tenma Town, is accused of his murder. And why, pray tell, was the mayor arrested? His prints were on the murder weapon. Plus, he had a motive. The elimination of the biggest roadblock to the municipal merger. The caretaker and the secretary, other potential suspects, both have alibis. And his daughter, who was also in the vicinity at the time of the incident, has no motive. So in a nutshell, I'd have to say the charges against the defendant are incontrovertible. Bravo, your boldness. Your years of experience shine bright like your head. Oh, flattery will get you everywhere. He's playing Simon Says with the judge. Moving right along now. Let's hear from our first witness for today, Detective Fulbright. Okay, It's a parapsychology, leading speech, I guess, is what he really means. Witness, please state your name and occupation. I'm the detective assigned to this case. Bobby Fulbright. Oh, and I'll also be keeping tabs on old Blackquill here. I also heard you would provide protection if it ever came to that. It would seem that I have been sorely underestimated. Wait, who's protecting who from what? Still, I truly believe anyone can turn their life around, even old Blackquill here. Fulbright. Save your platitudes for funerals. Get on with your statement. Ha ha ha! That's the spirit. Justice must be swift and true. I see it in your eyes. There is hope for your rehabilitation and return to society. I will never give up on you. Prosecutor Blackquill doesn't seem to intimidate Detective Fulbright. Well, you know what they say? Ignorance is bliss. Oh, so that's why Detective Fulbright was assigned to Blackquill. He's so oblivious. And now, let's have your first statement, Detective Fulbright. You got it! But first I'd like to say to the defense that justice will ultimately prevail! But that's me. I'm Justice. We need to tell him our full name, I think, at this point in time. He seems a bit clueless about that. Alderman QB was murdered with a spear that had been on the wall. The fingerprints of the defendant, Damien Tenma, were found on the murder weapon. At the time, Alderman QB was asleep from a drug he unwittingly ingested. Mayor Tenma attacked his helpless victim, impaling him like a human shish kebab. The sudden pain jolted the victim awake, and he grabbed the statue and struck back. Wait, isn't that wrong already? Alderman QB had been slipped some kind of sleep-inducing drug? That's right. The accused was scared because the alderman was a former pro wrestler. So he slipped him a drug to make sure he'd be out cold and defenseless. Here's the autopsy report to prove it. Alright, we got the autopsy report. Has been added. Great. Cause of death, stabbed with a spear. Estimated time of death around 3:20 PM. The victim had been in a drug-induced slumber. And the victim managed to attack his attacker, despite being impaled by a spear? That sounds almost superhuman. Is it even possible? Well, he was a former pro wrestler, after all. That spear was probably nothing more than a mosquito bite to him.
Objection!
Not so fast. Don't try to brush it all off by saying the alderman had been a pro wrestler. Do you really expect us to believe he could fight back after being skewered by a spear? Never heard the incredible feats of which man is capable of in a pinch, have you? Like the samurai of yore, wrestlers can battle through intense pain. It sharpens their senses. I used to talk about it with a former wrestler I met in the clink. I dunno. It still sounds a little far-fetched. Does it now? Then perhaps we should test the theory on you with the edge of my blade. I didn't sign up for this! He drew his things like a blade? And so your life is spared. For now. Please let those shackles be made of titanium. I don't want to die. Ha ha! My investigations are as far as they are foolproof, or my name isn't Fulbright. I vow to resign immediately if I ever make a false arrest. Well, okay, we're probably gonna make that happen. The accused's prints were on the weapon, and he's the one person without an alibi. Okay, look, right. So, I'm confused about who had the weapon. You're talking the spear. The accused prints were on the spear. Okay. But I just like the image of this guy fighting back with a spear in his... Was it his back? Where's a picture of the murder? That was in his front. I mean, you wouldn't be able to hit someone. I mean, it'd be a bit weird. Let's just put it that way. Like, you bump into him with a spear, you wouldn't be able to get in a range. I mean, you could go to the side, but wouldn't the person who was attacking just push back with the spear and keep him at distance? It's kind of bizarre. Let's put it that way to start with. You just got this image of a guy going blah blah and just hitting him with a spear repeatedly that's stuck in him. It's not a great image, is it? The accused prints were on the weapon, and he's the one person without an alibi. Quite decisive evidence, wouldn't you agree? Your boldness.
The defendant is sounding guiltier by the minute.
He has the judge leaning toward a guilty verdict, and the trial's just barely begun. What's more, a curious rumor about the accused is making the rounds. They say he seeks the merger for the purpose of freeing Tenma from his imprisonment. Truth be told, I can think of no real reason to show interest in that backwards burg. Perhaps he's a complete nutter and really does seek to release an imaginary demon. Either way, he is raving mad and more than capable of murdering the alderman. That mayor's a strange one, alright? And he went to a blood drive, but instead of donating, he tried to make a withdrawal. Okay.
Order! There'll be no gossiping in my court.
Your boldness. Please take a gander at those charms plastered across his cranium. I hear they're meant to keep him safe from possession by the demon, Tenma. Then again, perhaps he's already under the demon's spell. Behold! The lunatic appears poised to lunge at you at any moment.
Yeah!
The rumors and quirks of Mayor Tenma have no relevance to this case. Besides, those charms on his head, they're just a fashion statement, I think.
Come to think of it, such things don't seem relevant to the case, do they?
The prosecution will refrain from dragging our client's reputation through the mud. Oh, what a dreadfully fearsome lass we have here. Phew, thanks for that lifeline, Athena. Careful, Apollo. He has the judge dancing in the palm of his hand. The power of suggestion is one of the more powerful tools in Simon Blackquill's arsenal. He's trying to manipulate everyone's impressions to suit his objectives. This guy really is bad news.
In any case, it seems the victim did manage to defend himself, despite being impaled. What sort of weapon did he use against his attacker?
None other than the statue right here.
It appears to be a statue of two strange creatures locked in battle.
Two yokai, to be exact. On one side is the nine-tailed fox, and on the other, Tenma. Quite interesting if you think about it. It's as though this very case were rendered in art. The fox and demon statue have been updated. So the weapon used to bludgeon the mayor. The mayor's blood was found on it, but no prints could be lifted. So, okay. So the prints of the spear, but that could have been done after time, plus the fact that surely he must have handled the spear if they were good friends in there before. I mean, technically, ceremonial weapons, if they are mounted, they get handled a lot by people. Curiosity towards weapons is what people have, in general. So the weapon used to bludgeon the mayor, but no prints could be found, so why?
Mr. Justice, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Are you telling me that Rex QB... I'm so confused. Who wipes the prints? That's basically it. Who wiped the prints? Alderman QB was murdered with a spear that had been on the wall.
Hold it!
Too many posh voices. So those weapons on the wall of the Fox Chamber, I presume those are real? Don't you think keeping real weapons around like that is rather dangerous? No matter what he collected, the alderman insisted to be the real deal. For instance, he had a real demon's club in his possession. Apparently, one of his ancestors claimed it after defeating a demon in battle. What? That's gotta be an old wives' tale. Ha ha ha! The alderman had pure, unadulterated justice flowing in his veins. Whatever he did it right. We lost the real champion of justice in his death. Nothing but claptrap and boulder dash, if you ask me. Now stop your bleating and tell us about the weapon. Your wish is my command. The fingerprints of the defendant, Damien Tenma, were found on the murder weapon. It doesn't make sense if you think about it. Prints could be easily wiped off. You do have a point there. I'd venture to say he did not wipe off the prints because he could not. What do you mean? Looks like he wants you to figure it out. Well, don't just stand there, show him who's boss. I'm totally lost. So why don't you just tell me the answer already? To be honest, I'm actually totally lost. There's too much real confusing things going on here. I don't think he saw that as a plea for help. You feeling alright, kid? Running a fever, perhaps? I wish trials came with a reset button. But they do.
Well, the specifics may yet come to light. Please proceed, Detective Fulbright.
At the time, Alderman QB was asleep from a drug he unwittingly ingested. Hold it! Right, so you've got the autopsy report for that. Come to think of it, a coffee cup was found on the floor. Was the sedative in his coffee? Bingo! We found traces of a sleeping agent all over the inside of the cup. And that is why he was out cold. That is until he leapt to his feet upon being impaled by the mayor. What an awful way to wake up. A rather stimulating eye-opener if you ask me. I too would have risen to the attack, for to die in battle is the samurai way. Paradise awaits fallen heroes, but that hole in the stomach would make eating a challenge. What? He found that hilarious? Prosecutor Blackquill, please, those morbid jokes of yours have no place in this court. A bit of black humor, eh? A very black humor. Says the jester in detective's guise. Moving right along. Mayor Tenma attacked his helpless victim, impaling him like a human shish kebab. So the alderman was drugged because he was really strong? Did you see those rock-hard muscles of his? I'm surprised the spear even managed to pierce that armor-like musculature. I admit, I'm completely jealous of that righteous body of his. Ha ha ha! Well, he did look pretty buff, even in that suit he had on. Quite a difference when compared with a yellow belly like you. Yellow belly? Who even says that anymore? Yeah, and the colour's all wrong too. Oh, I know. How about a squishy red tomato? I move to strike both of your comments from the record.
Mr. Justice's character is not the issue here. And now let's get back to what happened after the far more muscular alderman was impaled.
Yes, well, your average person would likely have died on the spot. But the sudden pain jolted the victim awake and he grabbed the statue and struck back. But, okay, this is the thing. He grabbed the statue and struck back. That's what I kind of, was confused about before. But it's not got any prints on it. Okay, so obviously this is what we're going at here. Because this is stupid. You're telling me he managed to get close range even though there's a spear in him? He managed to grab the statue even though there was a spear in him? He managed to hit the mayor even though there was a spear in him? And then before dying, he wiped the prince? I'll press, first of all. Could he really have attacked his attacker after being impaled with that huge spear? Absolutely! After all, he was once a pro wrestler. The injustice of being drugged and speared was answered with a righteous counterattack. He could have thrown it. But does being a former pro wrestler make him superhuman? Absolutely! After all, he was one of the good guys, like a superhero on the side of justice. Even though he was retired, he could still don his superhero guise in times of need. Objection! You need to lay off the comic books, detective. We're talking about real life here. Setting aside the half-witted flights of fancy, the fact is this. The court ordered post-mortem conclude the victim moved after his screwing. So he found the strength somehow to attack his attacker, huh? Detective Fulbright's testimony sounds airtight. No wonder he's so confident. No, he only thinks it's airtight. It's up to us to poke some holes in it. That part about the alderman fighting back sounds like a big hole waiting to be poked. Really is. Right, so let's skip on over to the last statement. And to be honest, it's the weapon itself that's the contradictory point. Where's the weapon in the menu? Here we go. The weapon used to bludgeon the mayor. The mayor's blood was found on it, but no prints could be lifted. That's stupidly weird. It's really weird. Objection! And when you know the sound's gone, you know we're okay. Did the alderman really strike the mayor? What? Are you questioning my sense of justice? your so-called justice needs to find itself a pair of legs to stand on. You claim the alderman struck back after the mayor put a spear through him. But the statue he supposedly used to defend himself creates a major hole in your theory.
It would appear that the defense had a counter-argument. Very well. Let's hear what the defense thinks is all about the detective statue theory.
So there's definitely some typos and mistranslations in this. Like, let's hear what the defense thinks is odd about the detective statue theory would be correct, I feel here. Or Fulbright statue theory would be better too. But let's not nitpick at the game. It's the fact that there are no fingerprints, like, straight off the bat. That's just weird. You're telling me he wiped it too? And it's such a statement to bring up, like, this is the murder weapon, or no, this is the defense's weapon. There were no prints on it. That's such a weird thing to bring up anyway. There are no fingerprints on this supposedly crucial piece of evidence. And if you look at the crime scene photo, you'll notice that the alderman isn't wearing gloves.
Yes, I believe he's quite clever indeed. I didn't even think to check that. Whoops.
If he touched the statue with his bare hands, he should have left some fingerprints. Detective Fulbright, you did take that into account during your investigation, didn't you?
Ah! This can't be happening! Did I arrest the wrong man?
You did it, Apollo! You knocked Detective Fulbright off his high horse! Well, it's just one point in our favour. Who do you suppose clubbed the mayor if it wasn't the alderman? Well, it wasn't the alderman. That means someone else must have clubbed the mayor. You mean there was a third party there in the Fox chamber? Exactly. And this could be the big break we've been looking for.
There does seem to be a hole in the prosecution's argument. Prosecutor Blackquill, would you care to respond to the defense's assertion?
The least you could do is look at me while being dismissive.
Your mind is as dull as an unhomed blade, Justice Dono.
Justice Dono? He's been watching too many samurai flicks.
It will take far more than that to cut down Simon Blackquill. A whelp such as you has no hope against my superior swordsmanship.
This is a trial, not a sword fight, Prosecutor Blackquill.
There's a perfectly good explanation for the lack of prints on the statue. You might recall that blood-stained cloth found at the scene of the crime. Well, it just so happens that the blood was the mayor's.
So, what are you getting at?
Own your mind, boy. Why was there blood on that cloth? Solve that riddle and you shall see that the hole you thought you found is but an illusion.
No, still, it's fine. Now let's see. How was that cloth used? Was it used to wipe up blood, to wrap the statue, by QB's head covering? So you're basically saying it was used to wrap the statue. But why? Why would you why? Let's put it this way. Why would you wipe the prints? This just makes sense. By QB's head covering? To be honest, I could probably do everything right up, but what he's saying, he's trying to lead me to say to wrap the statue. Why would it even be wrapped? I don't really know what to go with at this point. I've got to be quite honest with you. I feel like I get penalized. I don't want to just eat into the palm of his hand, but whatever. Maybe the alderman wrapped the statue in the cloth. In short, he wasn't touching the statue directly when he used to strike back at the mayor, but that makes no sense. Ah! I just did his job for him, I know.
Precisely. Bully for you, boy.
Ah, it was nothing. Apollo, don't let him start manipulating you too. You just closed the hole for the prosecution. I did? I did.
Right. That a statue wrapped in cloth would leave no fingerprints is as plain as day. This also proves that there are no holes in our theory of the alderman striking back.
Oops. Ah! Fox and Demon statue has been updated in the court records, so that's what I wanted to do, and that seems to be the actual answer. But I know that was leading, and I know I followed him leading me into that. technically the others would have been wipe up blood on the statue or stuff like that. He'd have said I'm stupid and then yada yada. It would have gone to here anyway. So whatever choice I chose, I was damned if I did and damned if I didn't. Now do you see how dull your mind is? I'll make sure to sharpen it next time. A particularly frightening inmate once told me that. He always tenderly honed his blade before he went to work, like the samurai of yore. A samurai? Sounds more like a homicidal maniac to me. Actually, he was working in the prison kitchen at the time. Wait, so the inmate was a murdering samurai prison chef? It would seem that the victim and his killer were the only ones there after all. Well, I debate that entirely, because still, the wiping of the prints and the covering of the cloth with a statue is just not something someone would do with a spear in them. But hopefully we'll be able to fight the point of all the crazy that's going on next episode. So join me then for more Dual Destinies, as we've only managed to get through one testimony, and our brains are completely boggled by Blackquill, leading us in to his little traps, assumptions, whatever. I'll see you next time as I lead you into the next episode. Bye-bye.